Hi, I'm Matt Golofchinsky from What Digital Camera Magazine, and today we're going to be looking at the world's first Micro Four Thirds camera, the Panasonic G1. The G1 is neither a compact nor a DSLR. It looks very much like a bridge camera and it's pretty much the same size, but it does also offer you the functionality of changing lenses. So what's Panasonic done to differentiate the G1 from a normal 4/3 camera? Well, it's taken out the reflex mirror from between the lens mount and the sensor, which means you have to rely either on the LCD or on the EVF to compose and take your images. Now, that might sound fairly limiting, but the LCD screen is a 460 dot resolution and 3 inches in size, while the EVF is 1,400,000 dots, which makes it a lot clearer than the EVF you would usually find on a bridge camera, for example. It's also the first sensor to feature a resolution over 10 megapixels. The sensor's got 12 effective megapixels, which outputs images in a 4:3 aspect ratio, and that's coupled with Panasonic's Venus Engine HD image processor, which handles all the camera's operation and processing functions. You can use existing 4/3 lenses with the G1 with the help of an optional adapter, but Panasonic has developed some new lenses specifically for the G system, including the 14 to 45mm lens that comes as a kit option. You also get a variety of focusing options, such as a very effective AF tracking option for moving subjects, and also face detection, which optimises focus and exposure for a number of faces. In terms of exposure options, you've got your basic program aperture, shutter and manual, as well as a variety of scene modes, while the sensitivity goes from 100 to ISO 3200, which is pretty good. Also, unlike a lot of bridge compacts, you get the option of shooting both RAW and JPEG images, plus a variety of modes like spot metering, for instance, really elevate it from the standard of most compacts. You also get a small pop-up flash which you can use for fill-in situations, but if you want a bit more power, you can always attach an external flash gun in the hot shoe here. So on the front you can see you've got your lens release around the sides here. On the other side you've got the grip, which has been slightly contoured to hold one finger, above which you've got the command dial, which you can change aperture, exposure values, that kind of things. At the top here you've got the shutter release button, which, as you can hear, is quite responsive. As you can see, the LCD screen is articulating, which means that you can pull it out and pivot it around a point. So you can take it right out, you can turn it around, and you can snap it back into place. What's great about this is that if you use live view, it means that you can really get those high and low angle shots and get into awkward angles and still see what you're doing. On the left hand side of the top plate, you've got the dial, which activates the different focusing modes. So you've got your single shot, your continuous, and also your manual focus there as well. You've also got a small pop-up flash button there which activates the flash. Meanwhile, on the other side you've got your exposure mode dial with all the exposure and scene modes, next to which you've got the power switch and the switch for selecting between different shooting options, such as the self-timer and single shot and burst shooting. Finally, we've got two buttons, Q menu and film mode. The Q menu accesses all the key menu settings quickly, such as white balance, focus, ISO, that kind of thing, while the film mode allows you to select from a range of different film looks, such as smooth, dynamic and nostalgic. In terms of image quality, colour is generally quite nice, but it's a little bit muted, so you may need to do some post-production. Same can be said for exposures as well. You may need to boost the contrast levels up a little bit too. Noise is generally quite well controlled up until about ISO 1600, but there's quite a sharp drop off at 3200, while white balance is a little bit cold at times, but otherwise can generally be relied upon. So what do we make of the G1? Well, Panasonic's done an excellent job to cram so much into such a small body, and it's great to have the options of RAW shooting and interchangeable lenses too. The LCD screen's really responsive, and so is the focusing, but the EVF does take a little bit of getting used to, despite it being quite detailed. The only reservation we really do have is with the price. At the moment the camera's about $550 with its lens, which is quite expensive considering that the feature set really does resemble an entry-level DSLR, which is obviously a lot cheaper. Nevertheless, the image quality is cracking. There's some more lenses to be announced soon, which would make the G system a really tempting option. Overall, we give the Panasonic G1 85%.
Sorry.